Okay. Proverbs 26, verse 1. Like snow in summer or rain in harvest, honor is not fitting for a fool. Verse 2. Like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse does not come to rest. Verse 3. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the backs of fools. Verse 4. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. Verse 5. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. Verse 6. Sending a message by the hands of a fool is like cutting off one's feet on drinking poison. And
Wow.
verse 7. Like the useless legs of one who is lame is a proverb in the mouth of a fool.
Wow, there's a big rebuke on fools.
Mm.
Rebuke on fools night. Okay, verse 8. Go ahead.
Like one who binds a stone in a sling is he who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Verse 10. The great God who formed everything gives the fool his hire and the transgressor his wages. Verse 11. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Verse 12. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Verse 13. The lazy man says, there is a lion in the road. A fierce lion is in the streets. Verse 14. As a door turns on its hinges, so does a lazy man on his bed. Verse 15. The lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth.
God help.
Verse 16. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly.
Okay.
16.
Oh, oh, 14, right? You're supposed to stop at 14? Next.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's 7.
Okay, I'll start
Who's
on,
number 3?
I'll start on 15.
Okay, start at 15. Go
Okay.
ahead.
The lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. 17. He who passes by and meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears. 18. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death. 19. Is the man who deceives his neighbors and says, I was only joking. Oh. 20. Where there is no word, the fire goes out, and where there is no talebearer, strife ceases. 21. As charcoal is to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife.
All right. And Debbie, you're the last, right?
22. The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts. Like a coating of silver dross on earthenware are fervent lips with an evil heart. Enemies disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbor deceit. Though their speech is charming, do not believe them, for 7 abominations fill their hearts. Abominations. Their malice may be concealed by deception, but their wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. 27. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. A lying tongue hates those who hurt. It hurts. And flattering mouth works ruin.
Woo.
Oof.
Wow. Okay, guys. The verses that, man, you can't help but ignore the verses relating to lazy people, or in some translation, the sluggard, as well as the fool. So
Gossipers.
that's also another one. So which ones
Yep.
jump out at you that you want to chew on, understand the hidden meanings, understand the problems that can be, be brought up by chewing on these things.
Pastor Bert, I want verse 7, please.
Verse 7, okay. Like the useless legs of one who is lame is a proverb in the mouth of a fool.
Pastor, where are we today? I came late.
Proverbs chapter 26, Tough Love Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so a proverb in the mouth of a fool. So anybody can quote Proverbs, right? Wise sayings. It's like this. What I see around society, anybody can quote the Bible, right? Would you agree? Anybody can quote the Bible?
Yeah.
Yes, Pastor.
So
Oh, yes.
in principle, a proverb in the mouth of a fool, right? Anybody can quote a proverb. But if you're a foolish person, do we need to look up the definition of foolish? I came across 4 kinds of foolishness. It's been a while since I've gone through that, but just the idea of, foolishness, fools. Robert, you got your hand raised?
Yes. What's the meaning of Proverbs again? Proverbs?
What's the beginning?
No, the meaning of Proverbs.
Well, in simple terms, it's wise sayings.
Oh, wise. Okay.
Yeah, that's in simple terms. I mean, without getting into the technical definition of Proverbs, but it's pretty much wise sayings. But if you want to get technical, we'll have to get into the Bible dictionary, which now you want me to go into, because we might as well. Okay. Here it is. If you want to work with this definition, proverb, a trite maxim, a similitude, a parable. The Hebrew word thus rendered mashal has a wide signification. It comes from root meaning to be like, parable, rendered, proverbs. Yeah, that's kind of it, and that's why in practical terms we just say wise sayings, but in the technical definition, it has to do with like stories, right? Technically the word has to do with stories or comparing similar things. Okay, that's the biblical definition that I came across from a trite maxim. That's a saying, right? A trite maxim, that's a saying. It's trite. So similitude, that's, you're comparing things that are similar. And then a parable, that's an illustration. So you put all those things together, what's the intent? So that you would be wise, right? In discussing a wise saying, then, from coming from a fool, let me look up the definition of fool. Oh my goodness. This, I'm looking at my Bible dictionary. I got a couple of Bible dictionaries, and that's when it gets a little more complicated. I got 3 Bible dictionaries, by the way. So that's why, I don't just rely on one Bible dictionary, but I'm looking it up here. Okay. just so you know, the word fool. Oh my goodness. I'm just having a challenge with this app. Okay, with the word fool. Okay, the word fool in this Bible app concordance. It's used 66 times, okay, in the Bible. Guess where the word fool is used most?
Proverbs.
Proverbs, Pastor.
Very good. Proverbs.
Proverbs.
So out of the 66 times it's used, for example, in 1 Samuel, it's only once. 2 Samuel once. Psalms 4 times. Proverbs 36 times. Okay? Second place, Ecclesiastes. Okay, so in Proverbs, let me look up the word fool.
Saying of
And
wise.
it says from an unused root meaning to be perverse, figuratively silly, foolish. Okay, so foolish man, that's one definition. It makes me want to go back to my notes on the different kinds of fools. Okay, so anyway, when a foolish person, silly person, starts quoting Proverbs, right? You're useless. Wisdom tells you just because they're able to quote a proverb and you see what kind of foolish behavior they have, they behave foolishly just because they're like that, and they're able to quote a proverb. Verse 7 says, in going back to Proverbs 26, they're like useless legs of a person who's lame. So if a person is lame, right, he really can't accomplish much with legs that aren't working. And so a person who has that ability to quote scripture, it's like my friend used to use the word NATO. They're NATO. No action. Talk only. You ever meet people like that? They do a lot of talking, but they really don't have any action behind it. We're probably guilty in some ways, right? But sometimes you talk too much, but you don't have any action. That kind of person is pretty much useless, right? They just do a lot of talk, but there's no action behind it. A person who's lame, right? They can't accomplish anything because their legs aren't working. Can't do any actions. So same thing with a person who quotes Proverbs, but you see their behavior, they're foolish. So that's what I can come up with. Anybody else have any thoughts about verse 7? But it teaches you to be discerning. Just because they sound good, need to pay attention to their life. Right? How do they conduct themselves in secret, right? When nobody's watching, when they're not, making a show of themselves. It teaches you to be mindful of that. Also, Proverbs also helps you to choose that you shouldn't be friends with somebody like this, right? Just because they sound good or they speak well and they're able to quote Proverbs, wise sayings, but you got to look at their life. Your actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
So you need to pay attention to their behavior, their actions, not just their words. Okay, fair enough.
Thanks, Pastor Bert.
Okay, I hope that helps with our meditation. And so who's next? With with these verses that jump out at you when we were hearing it. Okay, I got Daniel. raising his hand. Go ahead, Daniel.
Verse 17, Pastor.
Let's all go to verse 17. And obviously, translations vary. So my translation reads like this: like one who grabs a stray dog by the ears is someone who rushes into a quarrel not their own.
No, don't do it, Pastor. Like the Lord gave us talent and all the abilities, His Spirit, and to be busy with the kingdom and the work of God, and we have no time to, hold the stray dog in the ear, meaning getting into someone's quarrel, which is not ours.
Yeah, that's really a wise saying. You know, when people are arguing or quarreling, even with your family, even with your friends, you know, the wisdom there is don't get involved in it. You should keep it between themselves. I heard of this illustration, and tell me if it resonates.
Yes.
There's this one man who no, there's this brother and sister, and their dad slapped the brother, right? And the daughter was so angry with the father to the point where she even hated her father, right? Because her dad slapped her brother, and she loved her brother, and she kept this grudge, and she kept it for years, hating her father for years because of what he did to her brother. And then one day the brother and the sister were talking, and then she goes, I hate dad because of what he did to you. And then the brother said, what do you mean? Yeah, that time when he slapped you. I can't forgive him for what he did. And then he said, oh, that? Oh, I deserve that because I was bad mouthing dad. Do you see that? She took the offense upon herself, got mad at her father because of the father and son got into it. And it was like, he even said, I deserve it because I was bad mouthing my dad. Do you see? So,
It's
you
wise.
know, don't take up offense. Don't get involved in other people's quarrels. The wisdom there is let them work it out. Keep loving or honoring your father and keep loving your brother, but don't get involved in that because, for all you don't know the whole story. And for all you know, you were taking up offense for your brother, and the brother had no offense towards his father because he was saying, I deserve that one, you know? So um, it's like grabbing a dog by the ears. Now, I don't know what it's like to grab a dog by the ears, a stray dog, that is. So it assumes that a stray dog is very dangerous, not trained. And if you think you can grab the dog by the ears, well, it's going to turn around and bite your hand.
No,
It's
Yep.
going to
I
hurt
wouldn't
you.
do that, Pastor.
So it's going to hurt if you try to get involved in people's quarrels. The wisdom there is let them work it out.
And the saddest thing, Pastor, the saddest thing is stray dogs has rabies,
Rabies. Yeah.
Rabies,
so,
unbelievable.
so even rabies, man, that is that terminal, right? You can die from rabies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, see, so that's lethal. And in a sense, that girl, the sister, she was living with this bitterness, anger, and hatred that she was carrying with her, and she didn't even need to do that because it was something between her brother and her dad. She should have just let her brother and dad resolve it.
Yeah, like
You know,
I had a story.
so it killed her in this sense because she's carrying this bitterness, anger, and hatred, maybe unforgiveness as well, all throughout her life until she finally had a chance to talk about it with her brother, and it was not even a big deal with her brother. Hurt herself. Okay, you guys got wisdom from that one?
Amen.
That's a good one, huh? Manny, you got your hand raised.
Yeah, verse 11.
Let's look at verse 11, class.
Like a dog that returns to its vomit is a fool who reverts to his folly.
Have you guys ever seen a dog eat their
Eat their
vomit?
van. Yeah.
It's
No.
gross, right?
Gross.
Yes.
It is.
It is a very gross thing for to see a dog eat their vomit. To them, to the dog, it's nothing. But to a human observing the dog, it's gross. So, has anybody ever seen that? You said, Princess, you saw that?
Oh
Me
yeah, with
too.
my dog.
Anybody else
Yeah.
have a dog that or seen a dog eat its own vomit?
Yes, yes,
Ophelia has
Pastor.
4 dogs.
I have 4 dogs.
So I'm sure you've seen it at one time or another. Anybody else?
Me, Pastor, our passed away dog.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, it looks gross. It's obviously very sickening in the way it appears. To the dog, it's not a big deal because it's a dog, right? It's an animal. But the fact that it's compared to
Compared to a
seeing a
fool.
fool repeat their folly. Now, how do you process that? Well, a fool who does foolish things, and then let's just say he got arrested for it, right? I think we were watching some videos about people who were getting kicked out of kicked out of a park, an amusement park, or even kicked out of, I saw another one getting kicked out of a restaurant or whatever. Well, because they're either drunk or they're behaving very badly, and usually it's because of their drunkenness or even drug. But they're being told you can't stay here anymore. You're now classified as a person who's trespassing, and so you got to leave the park. The moment they hear you got to leave the park, right? Oh, that's it. They don't want to leave the park because you're telling them to leave the park. And then it goes back and forth between the owner of the park, the owner of the restaurant, the police get involved. The police is politely saying, just leave. No, they don't want to leave. They want to talk back to the police. They want to make their case that there's nothing wrong. Who are you looking at? Who are, they're basically challenging the police. They
They
get
know the
aggressive.
law.
They get aggressive towards the police. And what happens? Police takes them down and arrest them. When all they had to do was just follow directions. You want me to leave? Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye. That's all. Everything would have been peaceful. But no. And the fact that it escalated to that, now they're having to be charged with resisting arrest, other things,
Battery.
trespassing. And so it's like, you should have learned your lesson, right? And then the fact that they go through that process of getting arrested and so forth, they finally get out on bail. And what do? They
do it
repeat
again.
that again. They get into trouble again somehow. And it's usually because they're drinking, they're intoxicated. And, when they get intoxicated, there's different kinds of drunks. Some people who are intoxicated, they're angry drunks and they get angry, right? And, they never learn their lesson. So how do they look to everybody around them? They ruin everything. It's like we were all having a good time and you ruined it. I saw one episode of this guy. he just wouldn't shut up. He just kept talking back to the police. And the wife was basically saying, just shut up. Don't say anything, you know? And he kept talking back to the police. He goes, we're on a cruise. We're going to miss our ship. Guess what? He kept talking back. He gets handcuffed, basically. And now he's arrested. And guess what?
No cruise.
The cruise is now ruined, right? Because now the wife is on her own with the kids and who else? Other family members. And he can't join because he's in jail. And they're not letting him, please let him go. Can you please let him go? Because, we're on a cruise. No, see? So that's why you got to learn those lessons and take it to heart. When you're being corrected, rebuked, or, being told to get out, it can get you into big trouble, and you don't want to repeat those things. Once, okay, it's one thing, but to repeat it, you're like a dog eating its own vomit. You're pretty disgusting in the eyes of everybody. Robert, you had your hand raised?
Oh yeah, like you were saying, they're repeating their sinful ways, so they're not learning from their mistakes.
Yeah, it says foolish here, but obviously foolish things are obviously sins. What I take into consideration, right, is weaknesses. Like people who have addictions. They really are doing their best to stop their addiction. Okay? And out of weakness, they fall into it. So yeah, that is also a consideration. You don't want to ignore people who have weaknesses, because Jesus sympathizes with your weaknesses. But obviously, if you can stop it, then you stop it. Stop stealing, for example. If you were stealing, stop stealing. Stop taking things from people. Oh, I saw, what a part of my research again, right? There's this woman who's a nurse, and she's supposed to be taking care of this man, but it looks like he's dying, and he's probably gonna die. So what does she do? She says, "Oh, that's a nice Rolex he has."
Oh yeah.
She takes the Rolex
And the money.
and then she. Oh, you saw the same video.
The wallet.
We got the same feed.
Yeah.
She takes the cash, and she thinks nobody can see.
Camera.
But there's a video camera in that room, and they see everything. See?
Got arrested.
So that's why just stop stealing. Okay, you got arrested, you're going to jail. After you get out of jail, you should say to yourself, I'm never going to steal it anymore. I'm going to stop stealing. Okay? But, a person who has a weakness, they might, steal, office equipment, not office equipment, office supplies, things like that. It's a weakness. They like something free food, steal some food. Now that's a person, if they could stop stealing, that's good. Okay. If you can't stop stealing, you need prayer support to stop, accountability. Lying is one where I know everybody commits that sin, and that's a weakness. Why'd you lie? You're not supposed to be lying. You're a Christian. See? I'm a Christian, and I never lie.
That's a lie.
I just lied. It was because it's a weakness. I can't help it. I have to lie sometimes. Okay, so that's where, as much as you want people to stop their foolishness, stop their sins, I wish, that's what I prayed to the Lord. Lord, I'm never going to sin again. But it didn't last long because I see my weakness, my sinful condition. So, it does look bad if you repeat the sin. So just take it to heart that if you get caught, if you get rebuked, take it to heart and do your best not to do it again.
Amen.
Because if you do, then might as well understand you look like a dog who's eating its vomit. You look pretty disgusting in people's eyes. So there you go with that one. Anybody else?
Verse 10, Pastor.
Yeah, you guys having fun with this?
Yes.
Every time I get into this, it feels like fun. Like an archer who wounds at random is one who hires a fool or any passerby. Man, this is talking to a businessman, right?
What
Talking
verse,
to a
Pastor?
person.
Verse?
Verse 10?
Thank
Verse
you.
10. You know, it's talking about like if you're in a position to hire people, right? So that you might be a supervisor, you might be a manager, you might be an owner. And obviously you're looking to hire people. Well, you need discernment in hiring people. Don't just hire anybody. Don't just hire your friends. Don't just hire somebody, you know, who, I don't know, who appears that, you know, they could do well. You got to watch out for fools. You know, foolish attitudes, foolish behaviors. And wisdom here is telling you don't hire people like that. Don't hire fools, basically. But how do you, you know, discern enough to determine whether this person is a fool or not, right? You know, you got to look at them closely, observe their character before hiring them. And it also says hiring a passerby, you know, just anybody who's passing by. Hey, come here. I want you to work for me. The wisdom there is don't just hire any passerby. Don't just hire any fool. So that's advice for somebody in a position of management, you know, leadership, ownership, supervisor. And then he says, it's like an archer who wounds at random. So an archer that wounds at random. That's my translation here, verse 10. Well, okay, I'm an archer. I have a bow and arrow. And I'm just shooting it anywhere I want. I don't have a target. Or if I do have a target, I am missing the target and hurting people because I missed the target so bad. That's what happens when you hire this kind of person. It'll hurt people. It'll hurt you. It'll hurt your business. You know, it'll hurt whatever project you want to pursue. So don't be that kind of person who hires just anybody. I don't know, Q, is that enough? Is there anybody else want to add to that? You guys are welcome to add to it, you know. What do you think, Q, Kwame?
Yeah, that was good.
Does it hit home?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're being hired, for example, you're looking for a job and you're being hired, don't behave like a fool. And obviously, you want to practice responsibility and accountability at your job the best that you can. And that's the kind of people that you should want to hire and be that kind of person if you're being hired. Okay, anybody else? Yeah, this is what Proverbs is all about. Common sense, practicing wisdom. Yeah. Anybody else? Wow. We got 10 more minutes, you know. Okay. You notice the many times this chapter refers to a fool, right? Verse 1, circle fool. Okay. Verse 3, circle fools. Isn't it interesting in verse 3? a whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the backs of fools. What is that telling you? To control a horse, right, it needs a whip. To control a donkey, you know what a bridle is, right? It's what you put on the mouth of the horse or the donkey, right? And what's the purpose? It's to control it so that your horse doesn't go out of control. And when a horse is out of control, you know, like a horse that is bucking, you know, like a bucking bronco or something, it can destroy or hurt people. Same thing for a donkey. If it's out of control, it's just not going to be very useful. So, as far as fools are concerned, what do they need in order to get them under some control or to get them to be
beating with a
useful?
rod.
That's it. They got to get. They got to be hit with a rod in the back. They got to get whipped. Now, that's applicable in those days, right? This is where context, right? Maybe that's the historical context, their custom, their culture. That's the way they treat fools, right? In order to correct that fool, it needed to be treated like that in order for the fool to learn. It sometimes still applies in different countries, right? But now we're looking at United States of America. How does it apply in the United States of America? You know, there are some actually,
Said you might get fired.
Okay, life happens. Life is the rod now that hits you. You know, life hits you hard. And that's the application for now, because there's nobody now hitting you with the rod. Do you know, like in, I think, Singapore, they still do that, right?
What?
Yeah. Like, did you hear? There was this story of I'm old, during Bill Clinton's presidency. I remember that because he wanted to intervene. There, I think it was Singapore.
3 strikes where you're out.
There was this American
tourist.
Yeah, he started to do some, you know, spray paint or do some vandalizing in Singapore, and they caught him. And they said, because you did that, we're gonna cane you, right? They use a cane, whip him. You know, he's gonna get so many lashes. And then when the news hit America, right? The Americans were saying, no, you can't do that to him, you know? And even the president stepped in and said, can you just please let him go, bring him back home? He said, no, he broke our laws.
Yep.
So he's going to get it. And he did. You guys heard of that?
No.
That's what I remember from history. So,
That's
you know,
too old.
But yeah, I know, right? But that just goes to show you there are some cultures that still do that. They don't have any problem beating you if you're going to be acting like a fool or committing a crime. Okay? Does it happen in America? No, not in the judicial system. But does it still happen in America? You bet.
Yeah.
You know? Among streets, in the streets, they'll do some chastising you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna chastise you, right?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that term. You know, so they'll do it to each other. You know, if you don't do what's right in their eyes, you know, it can be violence, right? So what's the point? The point is, you know, if you're corrected once, you gotta and this is Proverbs, make sure you learn your lesson. And if pain becomes something that you receive because of it, let that be your motivation to never do that again. It's like when your parent says, don't touch that stove. you're going to get burned. And you say, oh, it's so bright. And you touch it and your fingers are all burnt. You learn your lesson, right? I'm never going to touch that stove again. See, it's just life. This is life. This is wisdom that you can learn from these things. The fool is the one who doesn't learn from these things, and they keep repeating it. They keep getting beat up again and again, and they just never learn. And that's the sad thing, you know.
Life lessons.
Life lessons are there for you to learn, and you should take it to
Even
heart.
from fools.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I there, you know, there's a story of a person I know. I'm not going to name names, and they actually got scammed. Okay, they're getting scammed by these people, telling them they're going to get millions and millions of dollars if only you pay certain fees and if you help them out of jail or whatever. And I kept telling this person, you know, you shouldn't give them any more money because obviously this sounds like a scam, but I'm not an expert on scams. So I took her to FBI. I said, let's talk to the FBI and let's explain what's going on. The moment the FBI heard what was going on, basically said, stop giving them money. Okay. At this point, it was probably maybe $100,000 or more at this point that was given to these scammers with the expectation of getting millions. So I thought, okay, it's over now, right? You're gonna stop it. I mean, you take the loss and move on, right?
Right.
No, not in this person's case. This person kept giving and giving, even though the FBI told him not to do it.
Hypnotized.
And this person makes a lot of money, and after like 7 years, I thought it was over. I find out, you mean you're still giving them money? And it's like, at that point, probably already given them $1 million.
Wow.
See? Because they make a lot of money. They were giving it away to these scammers with the promise, I promise you're gonna get your money, you know, multiplied 10 times, 100 times. And it's like, never happens. And I think to this day, still not listening to me. And to this day, this person is still, I think, still giving. Because the moment they get you, right, it's hard to let go because you got so much money invested. So yeah, that's part of the pain that you have to experience if you don't listen to wisdom. You know, like I said, I'm not an expert in scams, so we went to the FBI. And you don't want to listen to the FBI, then, you know, you don't want to listen to the authorities, people who are experts in these, you don't want to listen to them. Then yeah, you're the fool in a sense, getting, you know, whipped. Okay? Asha, you have your hand raised and we're going to have to wrap it up.
This reminds me when I was young, my mom was cooking something to sell, and then she told us to steer. Me and my brother keep talking, didn't pay attention. Then my dad came and banged our heads together. And I never forget that, but I'm thankful that my dad did that because now I'm so careful on what to do. If somebody tell me something, I pay attention now.
Yeah, see, that's how wisdom comes.
Yeah.
That's tough love.
Yeah.
It hurts at that time.
Oh, I'm happy
You know,
that my dad did that to me.
yeah, later on, you know, in Proverbs as well as in Hebrews, where it quotes Proverbs, says, "My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline. Don't hate it, because the Lord disciplines those He loves."
Amen.
See, and it says, "Endure hardship as discipline." God is treating you as sons, as His children. No discipline is pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. See, so if you look at the big picture, it's going to do you good in the long term. And right now it might be painful, but it's going to do you good in the long term. So take the painful things to heart. Take it to heart. Like somebody says, you know, this parking, here's an example. You shouldn't be parking here. You know, this is parking for security. So you shouldn't be parking. You're not security. Oh, it's just for a little bit, just for a little while. It's like when he says no parking, just leave. Oh, sorry, I'm leaving. That's it. You don't have to excuse yourself and say, well, because of this, because of that, because you know, I just, you know, short, just it's just for a little while. You know, I'm parked here at the bus stop. You know how in San Francisco you can't park at the bus stop and it's a big red zone. Yeah, but I'm just going in for a
Minute.
yeah, a minute. That's where I bought the most expensive sandwich in San Francisco. It was, I think, 2 sandwiches for about $200
Mm.
Oh,
because I parked in the red zone of a bus stop just to buy a sandwich
it costs.
that cost like $5.
200.
And then when I came out of the sandwich shop to go back into my car, it was just really quick too. I already saw the ticket for $200. What am I gonna do? That was the rod that hit me in the back.
Enjoy the expensive sandwich.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? So those are life lessons. Guess what? I am still tempted to park at that same spot when I go to buy a sandwich. I'm still tempted to park there. And I got to keep remembering, don't do it. Don't do it.
Do it.
So I got to drive around the block looking for parking instead. You know, these things are life lessons, and Proverbs is reinforcing the need to pay attention to these things. This is part of life. All right?
Amen.
Anything else before we wrap it up?
I had a
Let's
I had a
close.
curiosity about 23, but I don't think we have time.
Well, let's see. It's 7:33. Maybe we can incorporate.
There's so
What
many
verse is that?
here.
23?
Yeah. I think like 22.
23.
Oh, you like 23?
Oh,
Oh,
gossip?
did you say that? Did you say
Yeah,
that?
well, yeah, I like that one too, but I like 22. Also, I was seeing that one
Which
first.
one do you want? 22 or 23?
Mine is 24.
Oh my goodness. See,
Oh,
we're
22.
I think
and
Sister
I
Diane
only
said
have room.
23.
I only have
Oh,
one more. That's it.
okay,
So,
let's do
Diane, what's your
23.
verse?
Well, I
21.
wanted to do 22 about gossip. I don't understand it.
Okay. The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts.
Greedily eaten, mine says.
Huh?
Mine says greedily eaten.
Oh, you eating it up. Okay. So here's an example of the words of a gossip. Okay. Do you know that guy Joe? I saw him with a little girl, and he was doing something very inappropriate with that little girl. I'm lying, but the point is, do you see how you can? Oh, you
Make
want
up
to?
story.
You want to? You want to? Do you see how this
Oh,
can
yeah.
look like? Man,
Yeah.
I'm eating this up.
Tell me
more.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
think
What else
23 and
did Joe do? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
but
yeah, let me tell you what else Joe did. And do you know what
Okay.
else? Joe is married, you know? And do you know that Joe has been going to these playgrounds and hanging out over there, talking to other kids? Do you see that? Do you see how you can start listening, paying attention to these things that, you know, I can be making
oh,
up.
I see. I get it.
I could be making it up. And the truth, what's the
Uh-huh.
truth? The truth is, that was his granddaughter, and he just takes his
Oh,
granddaughter to the park. But I make it sound like he's a pervert.
so beware of those kinds of comments in people. But
It
23 and
says you
yeah,
need to watch out for a gossip. In another verse. In fact, there's a lot of themes. We could do a word search on gossip in Proverbs. It'll show up
I
a
think
couple
we
of few
should.
times. But
I,
one of the verses that I came across is, a gossip betrays a man's confidence. So avoid a person who talks too much. So wisdom is telling you, if a person likes to talk about people, right? You're probably wise not to tell them what's going on personally,
mm,
because
Yeah.
they'll probably tell other people about it. And that's the wisdom. A gossip betrays a man's confidence. They make you feel so good about hanging out and talking to them. You start having confidence in them, and you confide in them. And when you're
mm-hmm,
confiding in them, what happens? Oh, do you know what Diane
mm.
is going through right now? Oh man, did you know what Diane did? Oh yeah.
I think I've
And
been there already. Yeah,
yeah, and so the wisdom is, be careful of people who talk too much.
Thank you,
yeah,
Pastor Bert.
yeah. Thank you
That's
on
not
that.
from
And I
me.
think
That's just Proverbs in our meditation, right?
this
I
is a
know.
very
Thank you for
good one.
reminding me.
There you go. It goes both ways. You could be the gossip. See, you could be the
Right.
gossip too. So it
Yeah.
goes both ways, right? Either you're dealing with a gossip, or be careful, you might be a gossiper. So you
Okay.
need to
What will be
examine
the
yourself.
topic next?
See?
And
A word search on gossip.
I would love to
What's
do
that?
that.
No, we got to
But
wrap it up.
I know, but 24 and 25 that Daniel wanted it are very good, because 24 says, "He who hates disguises it with his lips, but he stores up deceit in his heart." That's like your friend that with the FBI, listening to someone, well, not necessarily that hates, but 25 is better. When he speaks graciously and kindly, do not trust him, for 7 abominations are in his heart.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that you can't trust people?
No, you have to
That's just
draw
the
a fine
honest
line
truth,
through it all.
and you got to
Yeah.
watch out. I mean, it's like you got to love people because that's what we're commanded to do, but you also got to be careful not to trust people,
Yeah.
which means, as some say, keep your head on a swivel, always be mindful that they could be doing something against you. And so
That's a good
just
one. I've
watch
never
out,
heard that before, the
and
swivel.
watch out or avoid people who you might think, like they say, here's some street talks, like keep your spider senses, your spider senses.
Oh, I haven't heard
If
that
you,
one either.
oh, you haven't heard of that? You got to keep your spider sense.
No.
It's a, Spider-Man. It's like when you feel that there's somebody who might be against you or hates you, watch out for them. Don't just ignore them. I mean, maybe you could pick it up when you're at a club, at a bar or something, and you see some people who are looking at you, or, they're talking and looking at you, or, things like that. Pay
Yeah.
attention, because if they could be planning something against you, if you sense that, you're in danger because of, the vibes that you feel, it's time for you to leave that situation, and just play it safe in that sense. No matter how many words. Here is one.
That's a good
I
one.
guess we're
Thank
gonna
you.
have to wrap it up with this.
Okay.
There's a story of a man who dressed up like a Walmart. Maybe Asha, you got the same feed, but he dressed up like a Walmart employee and talked to this woman and said to her, "Do you own this car with the license plate?" And then she said, "Yeah." Says, "Well, it's gonna get towed."
Uh-oh.
And she goes, "Why?" Well, I don't know why, but it's gonna get towed. So she felt the need to go to the to go to the parking lot. But before she did, she talked to another Walmart employee and said, "We don't do that. That person is not part of our company." It's one of their ways of trying to kidnap people or things like that. See, so you gotta be able to be mindful of people who don't like you, and yet treat you like they're helping you, or people who want to harm you, and then they treat you like they're helping you. Yeah, man, that opens up a door to another
I
conversation.
just got scammed.
What's that,
What?
Asha?
I just got scammed on Tap Send. Like they pretend that's my friend on a messenger, that they wanted to, use the carrier that I'm using, and so I thought, because my heart is just to help, right? And at the same time, they gave me points. Then the scammer went to my account and took 17 plus 100.
Wow, that's example of people. You know what a con man is? A con man.
Yeah.
The word con man, the word con is from the word confidence. So he's a confidence man. So they treat you and talk to you so nicely that you like them so much that you put your confidence in them. And the moment you put your confidence in them, that's when they con you and get you to give them money, or that's where they take advantage of you. So see, be mindful of the fact that there are those who could use sweet words, nice words, but they're actually deceiving you, because they're not your friend, they're actually your enemy. This is some trying to help you to be streetwise. If you grew up in a sheltered home, right? You grew up in the palace, no one's going to hurt you, but when you go into the real world, yeah, there's some people who are pretty evil.
Everywhere, Pastor.
What's that, Diane?
I said everywhere, even at church.
Yes.
I hate to say that, but even at church.
Oh yeah.
Especially at church, if you want to put it that way. You know why? Especially at church? Because there's an evil con man going to church. He's not there to worship God.
Wolf with a sheep clothing.
Yeah. He's there to take advantage of these gullible Christians. They'll believe anything.
Yeah, they trying helpful.
See, they'll believe anything. I'll tell them I'm a missionary and I do all this work and all these things, and please give me money, support me, and God will bless you for doing that. And they're your enemy. They just want money from you. They don't want to, they don't want to minister. They just want to talk about ministering. But see, so how these things are, yeah, definitely is something to be aware of. All right, got to wrap it up, guys.
Thank you.
I hope you guys got something for this Tough Love Tuesday on the 26th of August.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we close in prayer now?
Always.
Diane, would you?
Oh, no, I can't today. Sorry, Pastor Bert. I'm not feeling well at all.
No pressure. How
Nope,
about
thank you.
Princess?
I'd rather
Close us. That's all right. Princess, would you?
Yes, Pastor Bert.
Thank you.
Thank you.